University of Delaware chapter of Engineers Without Borders began in 2007 with the Cameroon Water Project. In June of 2007, EWB-UD made its first trip to Cameroon to assess the project location, the water, the health of the people, and the commitment from the community.
If you want water in this area, this is what you need to do. This is a watering hole near Bakang, and there's open water here all year round. But you wouldn't want to drink this water. This is the water that people use to wash their motorcycles. This is the water that's used when the cows pass through. And so it's not a good source of drinking water.
In January of 2008, the team traveled to Banquet for a second time to discuss system designs, meet with the water committee, and assess existing sanitation practices. On this trip, the team also met representatives from Hydrosante, a water and sanitation NGO, to discuss sustainability concerns regarding the project. Project implementation began in June 2008 with the first installation of a solar panel pump system to replace a pre-existing and non-functional hand pump, as well as construction of 4 slow sand filters with the community. In January 2009, we located sites for 2 borehole wells and initiated a water health study with Hydrosante and a local Peace Corps volunteer. Peter Najdzika also came to Bakang to talk to the water committee about the importance of clean water. Meanwhile, EWB-UD was being introduced to a new project. Dr. April Vaness, a professor in the geology department, was doing research in the community of San Jose Petacalapa, Guatemala. This community is divided in half by a river. Most community members live on one side of the river, while their crops lie on the other side. During our first assessment trip in August of 2009, the team became acquainted with the community, who expressed their need for a bridge, although they had no means to complete it. On implementation in June 2009, the team contracted the well driller, 4Ax, to drill wells in Bakang 2 and Balatsit 1. We also installed a solar panel pump system for each well and assessed the geography of the area for the gravity distribution network. Finally, we met with ACRES to discuss their involvement in the solar project and continued our research collaboration with the School of Public Works. In January 2010, the Cameroon team installed a pilot lift station consisting of a PVC wet well, access vault, water main, and temporary storage tank adjacent to the School of Bakang at the top of the hill. Meanwhile, the Guatemala team traveled to the community a second time. On this trip, the team was able to examine the proposed bridge site during the dry season, the conditions under which the bridge would be constructed. The team was also able to test the resources and materials available in the community which would be needed for construction, namely water quality and concrete strength. In June 2010, the Cameroon team installed a 20,000-liter ferrocement reservoir and 1 tap stand at the School of Bakang and provided maintenance procedures for the ferrocement tank to the community. By January 2011, the Cameroon team was ready to install a second lift station consisting of a PVC wet well, control box, and water main serving the ferrocement reservoir. Also in January 2011, the Guatemala team traveled on a final assessment trip to survey the bridge site in order to complete final designs. With all the physical information from the community collected, the team created final designs with the help of Dr. Alan Jane and Ben Berwick. Construction plans were drawn up with the help of Ted Thompson and Rod Peretti to prepare for the implementation trip in January of the next year. In June 2011, the Cameroon team constructed 4 tap stands and installed the gravity-fed distribution pipeline from the ferrocement reservoir to the tap stand locations. We appointed a professional plumber to oversee future pipeline installation by the community and all pressure testing. We also tested the water in our storage tanks for coliform bacteria to ensure proper sanitation. Finally, we educated the community on the proper way to lay a pipeline. In January of 2012, the Guatemala team began construction of the bridge. Students, professional mentors, and the community members spent countless hours moving earth, tying rebar, constructing formwork, and pouring concrete. In total, the bridge was constructed in 4 weeks and was completed on the last day of the implementation trip. Community members and the EWB team worked from dawn to dusk, and despite running into countless problems, they were able to overcome each one. The Cameroon team's last implementation trip was in January of 2012. During the trip, the team installed the last wet well at the Bakang 2 site, as well as solar racks and panels to power the lift station. Nearly 5 kilometers of distribution line had been laid at this point, with the community eager to lay even more. When the team left, all of the wells were pumping to the ferrocement tank, which left the Cameroon team with the requisite monitoring trip 1 year later. In January of 2013, the Cameroon team returned to Cameroon for the last time. The team installed new taps on the existing tap stands so that water wouldn't leak from the system. The team also made repairs to the system that allowed all 3 of the wells to pump water to the 20,000-liter reservoir at the same time. There was a ceremony held by the local schoolhouse in which local and state authorities and even the United States ambassador to Cameroon took part. During the same month, the Guatemala team returned to inspect the bridge. When they arrived, they found the bridge standing strong. The community had painted safety rails and even thanked EWB-UD during their community meeting. The team was able to survey the community on the impact of the bridge and further train the community on how to maintain it.